Today I'm joined by Daniel Wilsher, Channel 4 pianist, finalist, inspirational speaker, and overall all-round top guy. Pleasure to have you.
Good to see you as well, mate.
Okay, so Daniel, I had the pleasure of meeting you at an event a few weeks ago, Help for Heroes event, and both of us ended up speaking that night, but you actually ended up performing. And I heard a little bit of your story and your backstory, and a little bit about what you've been doing, where you've been, journey you've been on, and I want to know more. I have to say that it's not just me who wanted to know more. It was a lot of my friends, a lot of my connections. People were talking about you, and I'm super privileged to have you here today. And I would like to find out a little bit more about who is Daniel Wilsher. So,
Big question.
Yeah, and it's a great question.
It's a big question.
It's a great question,
Yeah,
but
it's
everyone probably sees some of your successes that you've been achieving and that you have achieved. You were Channel 4 finalist for the pianist. You were you go and inspire and do these talks in front of hundreds, thousands of people. You're doing so much good, but who is Daniel? Where did your life start, and what has the journey been like for you? You're only young, aren't you? You're only 20.
29. Although all the kids that I work with in the schools are shocked when I say 29. They think 24. So I use Clarins, mate. That's what it is. I'm on the Clarins SPF moisturizer.
Can I borrow some?
Yeah, I got you some. Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. 100%. But it's a big question. It's a really big question. Like, who is Daniel? And I can go 100% into kind of a little bit about the background and childhood. But I suppose, the true answer, the authentic answer, as I've seen on the board to that question, I'm rediscovering who I am at the moment in this new chapter of my own life. And it's been really interesting. I've gone through a bit of like an ego death / big identity shift over the past 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, where there was some things within the self that, I definitely wasn't comfortable with, knew needed to change. I had this vision of who I wanted to be in the future. I had to let go of some things in the past, which I'm still, they're still fighting to stick onto to the self.
That's okay.
Of course, of course. But it's a beautiful journey, but it's a painful one, because there's grief that comes in that process. And I'm probably about 40. I say about 40% upon realizing this new version of Daniel, which I'm excited to become. So I'm still in the process of finding what that remaining 60% looks like. And I suppose the reasons for that. So in terms of my journey, my childhood, as you mentioned, I'm going to start this a little bit differently to how I typically do, because again, part of this update, this reason for change is that a lot of my life growing, or as I've been speaking, the story that I've told was focused on a lot of the things that went wrong. And as a declaration of trying to change my own language and spend more time in the future and change the narrative around some of these things, I want to begin today's podcast by talking about everything that went right in my childhood. Is that all right? We'll do that.
I love it.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
so we'll start there. Yeah.
I love the fact. And to be honest, right, there is no right or wrong. And I have learned, changed, adapted so many times. And I'm quite a lot older than you. I'm 46 now. And I have, for the first time in my life, got to a point where I'm actually probably I'm not balanced, but I'm probably in the best mental shape that I've ever been in that 46 years. But it has took a lot of work, a lot of failure, a lot of things, working stuff out, a lot of reflection, a lot of basically trying different things. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that you've that you're learning, that you're adapting, that you're changing.
Yeah, exactly. And I am as well, to be honest, because I definitely felt a little bit stagnant. And so this change has been, it's been welcomed, although it's been challenging, and we'll come on to why it's challenging anyway. But in terms of the beautiful parts of Daniel's childhood, I grew up in a loving family, mum, superwoman. She's a teacher, which is the reason I'm a public speaker today. She's an English teacher. So my use of language, I pride myself on the way that I use language, because I believe that, for me, if I'm speaking, my job is to create something within your brain, an image, a feeling, emotion. Exactly.
Stimulate. It's whatever it is, it stimulates.
Yeah, exactly that. And to create almost like a movie. And there's a number of ways to do that, but one of the key ways is language. And so people often hear me speak and they say, Dan, you speak like you're like 40 years old. And similar to you.
And you blame your mum. And you blame your mum. Or me.
And, you know, I think a great way to do that is to use language and to be eloquent and to find words and create metaphors and whatever to be able to paint a really clear picture in someone's mind. So I pride myself on the use of language and like to speak quite poetically in that sense as well. But my mum was an English teacher growing up, and just the most caring, the most loving woman. And, you know, we didn't have too much growing up, but, you know, times when we were struggling for money, but she'd always pay for me to go and learn guitar, because I started playing guitar at 5 years old. And I excelled really, really quickly. And music was like my way of understanding the world. I was like the fastest kid in primary school, so I was great at sports. I had this childhood where, you know, my mum just let me be whoever I was. I was a footballer on a Saturday. I was playing Nirvana at 6, 7, 8 years old, you know, in the evenings with the guitar. I was trying to teach myself piano and stuff later on in life. I went through every single phase, from getting a first 2-pack album at 11 years old, from Nirvana at 6 years old to Guns N' Roses at 9, 10, 11, Metallica, then into like UK grime. And there was these like shifts of identity, which my mum, she never ever caged me, and she never said, "Oh, Dan, no, you know, can't wear this." Yeah. I mean, when I was 6, we went to Affleck's Palace in Manchester, and she bought me a leather biker jacket with tassels on. And I was like 5, 6 years old, walking around Rochdale with this leather biker jacket on. I've still got it now, weighs a ton. And, you know, I had this hat with this fire and all this stuff, and she just let me express and understand who I am, which was amazing. So, you know, props to my mum for that, because it helped me really get a solid understanding of what was important to me and who I was at a really young age. And I'd also, you know, been open to so many different forms of music as well, and like experienced, again, when we talk about language and experience and music. And it was a great way for me to understand the world through the music that I was listening to. I had amazing friends in school. I was head boy. I was, you know, a really gifted young man who found things very easy, was naturally talented, and, you know, had a wonderful experience growing up. So I want to start there, which I'll let you know the first time I've done that on a podcast.
Do you know what, though? Do you know what, though? I could see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
I could see the happiness in your eyes when you're talking about your mum, when you're talking about that connection.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely.
Yeah. And it's true.
And it's true.
The difficult challenges, we can go into those because they give good context as to why I do the work that I do at the moment. So I had a lot of loss when I was young, the biggest one being the loss of a father to suicide at 9 years old. And that was, you know, astronomically challenging. But there was a lot that stemmed from the trauma, a lot of drive, a lot of kind of, you know, wanting to reach this place of success, because then I could look after my family, and kind of this huge desire to want to change the world, in essence. But there's a lot of pain that comes along with an event like that, especially at 9 years old, because the ages of 7 to 11 for a young boy's brain is developing a huge. Yeah. So the impact of any adverse childhood experience on the way that the brain forms is, you know, it's astronomical when you go through something like that. And it's also challenging because I didn't really have anyone around who understood or knew how to deal with the situation. And so as a young boy, I didn't have anyone who really sat down and went, you know, adults make mistakes. It's this, isn't this kind of, and there was a lot of internalization. And so I went on a journey to try and understand, why did Dad do what he did? Was it me? What was my role to play in it? You know, all of those. So you internalize it. I mustn't have been good enough. You know, I'm if I was good enough, he would still be here today. So it was those things.
And
you shake your head, doesn't it?
I'm shaking my head because I know for a fact that basically it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It had nothing to do with you. And the whole reason that I have set up Clarity and that I have basically formed Clarity Circle now is that I cannot help a single person once that person reaches the end of the road.
Exactly, yeah.
And nobody can. Nobody can. But we are all on a journey throughout our whole life where we can connect, where we can be inspired, where we can basically talk. And what I always say is that however you feel in your mind, there is always somebody else that is either been through what you're feeling or understands it. And it is, you know, and this is why you know, I feel so sad knowing that you basically were questioning, is it you, and is it, you know, and but it's natural. This
Of
is the
course.
problem. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the thing that people
It's
don't
going to
talk
happen.
about.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
is natural. It is
Yeah,
natural,
yeah.
and that's the bit that so many people block away and go, well, let's just push it under the carpet.
Well, 100%. And I did for many years. And this is the thing. So you do for many years. And believe me, I'm still dealing with the ramifications of the self-worth piece today. You'll know in like relationships, huge mirrors, and undoing 13 years of believing that, because I only started to challenge the belief that it wasn't my fault at 22. You know, so I'm only 29 now, so it's like I had 13 years of believing it. So it still shows up in that sense. The implications on the other thing being, sorry, that was an event which happened as the brain is forming.
Oh yeah.
You know, so even that, like the idea of undoing some of that and getting to a place where
Childhood
you can let
trauma.
go of it. Yeah, exactly.
Childhood trauma.
It's huge work.
You know, and
and
it's massive. It's massive because
it's huge.
that is the point where you're totally right. Between 7 and 11 is when, you know, it is so important,
Huge.
and when everything forms.
And that's how you believe the world is then.
Yeah.
So exactly that. And I won't go too much into it, but I only started to see Dad in a peaceful image in my mind after going through the hardest year of my life, or last year was the second hardest year of my life. After therapy was when I could picture him smiling. Prior to that, and I hope you don't mind me saying, it would always be of the event and every moment. So every time I was on my own, you know, regardless of what had happened in the day as a young boy growing up, if I had a moment of silence, it would be that. I have to think about how many thoughts that is. It's a lot every day because you have the same thoughts every day. Bam, 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 bam. And so changing those is ridiculously challenging. However, it's the most important journey to undertake. Yes, you have to slay the dragon.
And do you know what? Whilst I can't associate with what you lost in terms of a life, I can associate, and the only way I can compare it, and I always can only compare it to how my brain works around addiction. And basically, within anybody who has addiction, you are called and you are spoken to in your brain multiple times a day. And it continues. I'm 3.5 years clean, and these thoughts come into my brain. And I had one 2 days ago where it was going to me, you're okay now. You'll be okay. You can drink again. You can take drugs again now. Yeah, come on. You've shown everybody. And this is what it starts talking to you about in your brain, and it pecks away at you. And when you were describing the thoughts then, it's just exactly the same way. It's just pecking away at you, you know, pecking away.
Yeah.
And I can't control what thoughts or feelings I have. The only choice I've got is what I do with them and how I cope with them.
The decision you make.
The decision I make.
But to get to that point, what does it take?
It takes time. It takes work.
Oh, it's the hardest journey anyone will ever go.
Do you know what? It is.
100%.
But for anybody who hasn't been on that journey, what does the other side begin to look like?
So this is the point. So this is it, isn't it? It's beautiful because, you know, I had to relive the event. I had to go through it all. I went through the drugs, failed uni because of it. You know, went through 4 or 5 years of suicidal ideation myself. Really, really heavy, really deep stuff. And, you know, it was through the journey of talking about it over and understanding it, which allowed me to get some peace around it and also understand the event and change my beliefs and whatnot. But that was really, really hard. And again, I'm still dealing with that now. Still every single day after fight to make sure, you know, I put the systems in place to be able to do well, to thrive, to be in a state where, you know, I can control my own state. Part of that because of business stress, but also because of the nature of just how I grew up and whatnot. But the thing is around that is, what's the other alternative? The other alternative for me as a young man at 22 years old was to continue to take cocaine, to mask it, and go out on the weekends. Yeah, self-destruct, not speak about it, you know, take my anger out on people, like become distant with everyone around me, just let it get in the way of all the parts of my life which were super important until I probably would have ended up at the same spot as Paps. Like, that wasn't something for me that I was willing to do. And so, you know, the beauty of the difficulty around the event having seen what it did to a family, also gave, like, I could never do it because I saw what it did to my family.
It's the ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's, you know, and I can speak openly with you and freely with you.
Yeah,
so at the height of my addiction, I didn't care whether I was still here.
Yeah.
I literally did not care. And I've got an amazing son. I've got an amazing family. And literally my mum was basically waiting for phone calls to say that she's 70 odd years old, and she was waiting for phone calls to say that was it. He's gone. And that is no way for somebody to be going to bed. But I can say it didn't mean that I didn't love people at all. And it didn't mean that they didn't mean everything to me. It was all about, I had no self-worth. I had no self-worth.
Yeah, and
I could not believe in myself at the time. I didn't believe that I was worth anything to anybody. And, you know, that is the biggest reflection. I can look back and go, I had zero value of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nothing. I loved everybody just the same, but I had zero value of myself.
Yeah, and the brain naturally, you know, that's kind of like, and it's interesting how my relationship with suicidal ideation and suicidal thoughts has changed over kind of the past decade, because I still have them in times where things get, you know, pressure's high. Naturally, 1 in 5 people do. They're actually quite normal in terms of today's society, but now my brain used to have it. Oh God, that means this, and then it's this, and I would spiral and I'd go down and I end up at, you know, this thing kind of, this thought becoming a whole narrative and ended up at this bottom point. And now I'm feeling the somatic feelings in my body. I'm feeling all the sensations. Now I'm just like, oh, there's one, Dan. What you're not giving yourself at the moment. How's your sleep? How's this? How's that? So my relationship with them has changed massively as a result, but it's the brain looking for a solution, isn't it? Okay, what's the solution going to be? I've exhausted all avenues. I've tried this. Oh, it must be here. This is peace over here. And so it's the brain looking for a solution. And so with that understanding, you know, of the brain is just trying to keep you safe. Yeah, it's those sorts of things, isn't it? The brain just wants to keep you safe, wants to get rid of some of the pain. And I think the beauty of me being on a similar journey to perhaps and going to places that he would have been is there's been a level of like understanding and compassion to go, okay, I can understand now. Like, I can understand it a little bit now, you know, and so there's a piece that's come along with it. But like I said, now I use it as a marker to go, sweet, well, how's your training, Dan? What you're not giving yourself? What's a conversation you're not had at the moment? Or this, and this. And use it as like a little
checkpoint.
Yeah, to go, okay.
Yeah.
Look after yourself a bit more, Dan.
But that comes, you know,
with time.
With time and, you know, with delving in and doing some work on yourself and being open to learning and developing. And I'll be honest, sitting here listening to you saying that you're on this new journey, that's the most exciting bit. So,
and again, this is wonderful. This is the most exciting part. So again, I reached the point last year, my co-founder left in January. A lot of my corporate clients ended up dropping out when Donald Trump came in, because well-being was the first thing to go with US clients.
Yeah.
I was
not like he's
he's not asked, is he?
Yeah. Let's be honest. Well-being isn't on the top of his list.
No.
Yeah.
He's not. Of anybody across the board.
Yeah.
Wherever you are,
Yeah.
Anyway, but and then I was investing into the drinks business, was running at the same time. Whilst my obviously the deals that I'd expected were coming in didn't come in, and then I had my first healthy relationship, who I'm still with, my wonderful partner now, Katie, who is amazing. But that's been so hard because all of these parts now have been huge mirrors.
Yeah.
So all of these things where I can say, Dan, bam, you need to work on these, mate, because you're spilling onto someone who doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, and but as long as the first part is recognizing it.
Yes. Yeah,
the second part is accepting it's going to take a little bit of work. And you're not going to get it perfect.
Of course not, no. And there's a brilliant analogy which I heard, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but it's on Chris Williamson's podcast. And he spoke about learning a language. He said, look, if I said to you, Alex, I'm learning Italian at the moment, yeah, and then we meet again in 3 months, I'm fucking not fluent yet, mate. You'd say to me, Dan, listen, it's gonna take
time.
2 years.
It's gonna take time. Yeah.
And this is the same, which people don't understand with when it comes to the behavior element of wanting to change the self. Acknowledging and realizing is really easy and simple because we know what we want to change within ourselves. But in order for your body to catch up, in order for you to create the new neural pathways in your brain till that becomes behavior, in order for the feelings, you know, and the emotions to be kind of this new narrative that you want to craft or whatever it is, and to not have that heaviness attached to some of the, you know, some of the things you're trying to change, is like learning Italian. It's like learning a new language. And so there needs to be a huge degree of grace that comes along with it, which is why I said at the start to you, I'm about 40% into my journey.
Yeah.
I'm about 40% fluent at the moment.
Yeah.
I can see some things changing. The beautiful thing now is I know, because the momentum is picking up, I understand, you know, different words in Italian, which I can fill in different sentences with. Now I can say a paragraph and I can use this here, and, you know, I know this thing here. And it's like
learning
the new language,
who you are, and what you need, and how best to give yourself that. And probably, because I had no idea who I was. Genuinely, I've spent all my life looking after everyone else, doing everything for everyone else, and trying to make everyone else happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what made me happy. And you are on that journey where you are learning how to get the best version of yourself.
Yep.
What you need to get that best version of yourself, and to continue to work on yourself.
Exactly. And part of that came letting go of that and the story that I told. And honestly, I was hesitant, and I am hesitant now. Not hesitant, but there's part of me that when I come and speak in such a way, it's why I started with the positive things in my childhood, because those things are all true. And what happened is I got so good at talking about Dad in every talk, every call, every sales meeting I come on. I'm Daniel. Who are you? Let me just tell you a bit about who I am. I lost my dad. I'm not losing my dad to suicide. That isn't who Daniel is.
No.
But I would speak about it, you know, as if it was, and I would place it, the Channel 4 stuff. Dad was at the heart of everything. And it's been amazing, because in that journey from 22 going through therapy, you know, to then making it my job to talk about these things so other people could do the same and create change in their own life. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't sad. I was empowered by it. It was amazing. You know, I was having people come up to me. I've never heard someone speak like this, Daniel. This is the best talk I've ever heard. Like, I want to thank you so much. Kids who've, you know, I've saved their lives as a result, who I still speak to now. Big men who've waited till everyone's cleared the room and sat down for me, and we spoke for an hour, and then I've said, okay, well, I'm going to negotiate with you now. I'm going to speak to you for a couple of weeks, and these are going to be what we're going to say. You're going to go to therapy. You're going to walk there because you want to lose some weight at the moment, and then they'll do the change. And I'm like, it's been amazing. However, I reached a point last year on my own evolution where I realized that having that at the heart of everything that I did was no longer what I needed.
Yeah.
Reason being, I became conscious of every time I'm saying that, where am I keeping myself? I'm keeping myself in the event.
Yeah.
The beliefs that come from it.
And
also,
also,
the narratives.
Also, all you were doing was looking after everyone else.
100%.
You never were looking after yourself.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
You know, you weren't. And to be fair,
not fully.
Yeah,
there's an element
fully.
of it which was, because it was giving me peace around some of those things as well, and I've seen massive change. However, fundamentally, no.
Yeah.
No.
And to be fair, listen, it doesn't need to be part of your story anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't need. No. It was a chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Daniel story.
Yeah.
And now you're moving into a new chapter.
Wonderful. And I know Dad's probably thinking, "Thank fuck for that." Dad's gonna be sat there. Hey, listen, he'll be sat there going, "It's about time, Dan."
Yeah, it's about time.
All these people didn't need to know in the first place.
Yeah,
Dan.
exactly.
That's what
Yeah, if we go, come on,
bloody hell, you put me there. I didn't put myself there. That's what he's saying. But he works through me with everything that he does, and I believe that he has given these questions of reflection to me because he knows what he wants to see me be. And so I know he wants me to shift into this.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. Yeah.
And he would always want the best for you.
100%. And so this is beautiful now. So I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, well, let me actually fully commit to changing language, to, you know, speaking more positively about my past and all the beautiful things that happened as well, and not just focusing on what went wrong. Let me make a conscious effort. Every time my brain doubts something, or, you know, tells me that I'm not worthy of love, or this and this, which I'm still dealing through, I have to sit there and I create a new narrative. I've gone back into, I've done some work where I've gone back into the actual memories and the moments where I blamed myself for perhaps because there was some stuff happened around the event, which, you know, I would really blame myself for.
Mate, can I just stop you? Look in my eyes. Absolutely none of it was your fault. Yeah. None of it was your fault. I promise you, none of it 100%. Was your fault.
I appreciate that.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And like, I know that from the bottom of my heart.
There's still a slight under the surface. I know that. I had an interesting moment with my therapist actually, where it was like, "Have you ever seen Good Will Hunting?" And he's like, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." And it was funny because he's saying it's not your fault, and I'm crying my eyes out, and I'm like, "You've therefore seen the film." Yeah. I said it, like, I feel like I'm in a movie. Anyway,
but I know. I know. You know, and honestly, listen, and you're inspiring, mate. You're inspiring because let's be honest, right? One, how many people openly speak about it? But two, how many people then come and go, actually, I need to work on myself. I need to work on myself. I need to reassess. 100%. I need to basically reset, because what you're doing is you're giving anybody and everybody the inspiration to go, well, if you haven't got things quite right, start again. And have a look at yourself
and reset. Exactly. And go, and you can do that every day. Do you know what? At the moment, I have to do that probably every 2-3 weeks.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I'm resetting and bringing myself back to those behaviors that are future Daniel, because they're not fully realized yet. So I have to reset every 2-3 weeks at the moment.
Mate, I reset every morning. Genuinely, I do. Yeah. I'm like
the breath
that.
Work or whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm just like that. I'm just literally, I have like a 10-minute thing every single day where I reflect on, is there anything I could have done better today? Is there anything was I really funny with anybody? Did I have any thoughts? Why am I having that thought?
And to summarize this point, like exactly what I'm talking about is like, you know, this journey of crafting the new, it never ends, you know. But the thing is, you have to be your authentic self. I could have, for the next 5 years, continue to say the public speaking talks in the way that I've done 400 times. Everyone says it's the best thing they've ever seen. Every company, you're the best speaker we've had. Continue doing this, the services that I'm doing with the focus that they have. And I could avoid listening to what's happening within the self as a result of, you know, of staying comfy in what I know works. I had to let go of every single bit of it and go through 8 months of uncertainty, which was the hardest year of my life, in order to trust that what would come would be more aligned. And do you know what's happening now?
It's all coming together.
It's coming together in a way I couldn't have imagined it before. And what's opened up and how I'm seeing the future now and how close I feel, because I'm about a month or 2 months away from a lot of these things being realized, has given me all the things that I've been working to trying to get, the love for the self. You know, everything's coming back, the confidence, I'm getting my chat back. You know, I've got that confidence in my future again, and my energy's in such a better place. My state's in a better place. Yes, I'm having very difficult days, but I know and I can see the progression over time. Exactly. And now I'm coming out the other end. And that's beautiful, because I'd lost the hope in my ability to be able to do it. I didn't know if I could change. And it's beautiful because I can sit here and I can say, my brain can change whenever I want it to be able to do so. And it's more learning every time, and that's a blessing, man. But it's hard.
Listen, anything that's truly worthwhile might not be easy at times.
It's probably always going to be hard. Yeah, they're always going to be difficult. I don't think any of it comes easy, does it?
But it doesn't. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think you're an inspiration, and also you're speaking openly, and you're actually allowing people the vulnerability to be real, instead of going, just because I've done this, I'm okay now. Well, actually, I might need to take a step back. Actually, I might need to think about, do I need to look after myself more? Actually, I might not have everything perfect in my life. And that's okay. That's okay. It's good that you're recognizing it. It's good that you're doing something about it. And basically, anybody and everybody can do something, can change, you know, can do something positive. And it just takes one step at a time. So, mate, you should be very proud of yourself. I'm looking forward to speaking shortly about what's to come, what the future holds. But first and foremost, a massive thanks for today.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you.